Sometimes, just before something unusual is about to happen, people often say they felt a chill in the air, or they had this sudden, overwhelming fear to freeze and not move a muscle, as if their inner instincts were giving them a warning sign. Here are 6 stories of people who shared their terrifying paranormal experiences that did just that. Enjoy. I had just started dating this girl I'd had a massive crush on. We were fresh out of high school, and her parents went out of town for the weekend. I was finally going to sleep in her bed with her. I was amped. I have a bit of trouble sleeping in a new place, so I was awake after she'd already knocked out. I tried to keep my eyes closed and let sleep come. Just as I started to drift off, I heard a noise that sounded like scratching on wood, quick and getting faster. I opened my eyes and oriented myself again. It wasn't scratching. It was whispering, and it was getting louder. My girlfriend was rapidly whispering, "She is the devil in disguise, she is the devil in disguise." I turned my head to look at her, and her eyes were wide open, looking directly at me, but glossed over, like she was looking through me. The whispering continued until she stopped mid-sentence. "She is the devil in disguise, she is the devil. He can't help you." She closed her eyes and went and rolled over, leaving me with a wary, what the fuck feeling. I asked her about it in the morning, and she said she used to talk in her sleep a lot as a kid. My ex-wife admitted to me, while we were still together, that she occasionally saw ghosts. She always has. She told me about several times when she saw them, but the one that stands out in my memory the most was when she went to a symphony concert with her mother. Shortly before they were about to start playing, a boy walked onto the stage, went right up to the conductor's stand, and knocked the score off onto the floor. The conductor looked confused, picked it up, put it back on his stand. The boy turned around and walked back off the stage. No one else saw the boy, including her mother, who was looking the whole time. She also told me about when she went to see a psychic with a friend just for fun when she was in high school. Shortly after they sat down with her, the woman looked right at her and said out of nowhere, "You can see them, can't you?" She said it freaked her out, but she claimed not to know what the psychic was talking about. When I was a kid, I lived in Florida in a home that had no AC in the middle of summer. I woke up randomly around 3 a.m., freezing cold. Confused, I sat up in bed. My room was situated to where if I sat up and looked straight ahead, the entrance was right in front of me, which led to a little hall with a window on it. The door for the entrance about as tall as my next sister. I repeated the same actions, thinking my mind must be playing tricks on me. Called her name, and the figure did the same thing, coming back out as big as my eldest sister. At this point, I was kind of getting scared and repeated the process. Except the next time it came back as tall as my dad. I called out to him, and the next thing I know, it comes back, and now is as tall as the door itself. Except this time it wouldn't hide behind the door anymore. It just continued to stare at me for what seemed like forever. The room kept getting colder and colder, and eventually I just passed out sitting up. A long time ago, I was sleeping in my room and left my speakers on. They were old-time speakers, but they were big, so I ran a wire to my TV for playing my Xbox 360 on. I never used them for my radio, mainly because the antenna was broke and wouldn't get anything. I usually turn them off when I'm done, but that night I left them on. They didn't make any noise if my TV was off. In the middle of the night, I was awoke to a sound and I sat up. It took me a moment for me to realize what it was. in a faint but constant voice coming from both my speakers was, "Help. Help. Help me. Help. Help me. Help me. Help." Over and over, repeating the words help. I instantly jumped out of bed and turned off the speakers. Being old school tube speakers, it slowly faded out, then stopped. As I stood there, heart pounding, like what the fuck just happened. I never left them on when I slept again. I don't believe in ghosts, but there was something that awoke me in the middle of the night when my family and I were in our cabin in the mountains, far, far from civilization. I didn't see anything, but I woke up with a start. Couldn't move. Held my breath out of fear. Sleep paralysis, right? Suddenly, I heard my mother from the adjacent room whisper my name. "Lisa! Lisa!" As if trying to get my attention. I was too paralyzed to reply. I eventually fell asleep. The following morning, my mother said she saw me sleepwalking. My sister said she too awoke with a start, and she'd also seen someone in our bedroom. I don't sleepwalk. I'd been in my bed the entire time. I once heard someone scream for help from outside and running footsteps. Looked outside, saw no one. It was freaky as hell. Another time I was home alone in my room with nothing on and not listening to anything when I suddenly heard a whistle inside my room that sounded like Ring Around the Rosie. It didn't sound breathy or anything. I looked everywhere, but found nothing that would have made that sound. I was terrified all day until my family got home around 4 p.m. This had happened in the morning. What about you? Have you had something happen to you that left you terrified and frozen? Your inner warning bells going off in advance telling you that something bad was about to happen? Personally, I think the scariest moments are when you haven't been given any kind of indicator. No triggers or bells going off. No instinct of self-preservation kicking in before the wolves are at your door. See you next time.